Well, hello. Welcome to the show. A little reverse Uno card here.
Yeah, honestly. First cowgirl.
Yep.
That's like the best Halloween costume though, like the Uno reverse, but then it's the cowgirl. I want to do that.
I've never seen that before.
You've
in my
never
life.
seen that?
No.
Oh, it's so cute.
If it's not a superhero, I probably haven't seen it.
I don't really think that's true. I think you're playing that up for the camera.
No. I never played up for the camera. But welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
Busy schedule. Got a little time slot for us.
Chaotic,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are you doing right now?
It feels so weird to be on this side because I'm so used to like guiding all the questions. So it's very interesting to like be on the reverse, waiting for the questions to come to me and not driving the conversation.
It's weird coming from this side because I feel actually that I'm more confident interviewing you even though I have no idea what I'm doing.
Hey, that's okay. This is your first time doing like TV personality hosting.
Yeah. So I did like radio from high school.
Oh, high school radio shows. Oh
Yeah.
my God, those were a mess.
I killed it every time. I had the best
Did
music.
you?
Everybody had the
I
best
don't
music.
think he killed it.
I did.
I remember your high school. I remember it.
What do you mean?
I remember your radio show.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You were good. Who
Yep.
did you host it with?
There was two different people. I had one with David Carey and one with Brandon Edwards.
Yeah, the one with Brandon Edwards was the better one. I think you and David had good banter, but I think that you both sounded really nervous on the mic.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because when I did mine with Sammy
Right?
in grade 10, I don't think that one was very good. I think her and I just kind of did it for fun, and it was really fun doing it with her because she's like one of my best friends at the time.
Yeah.
But then the one I did in grade 12, that one was good. We had bits, we had like comedy gold, we like did survey questions.
Yep.
That's when St. Chris was over with us too.
Oh, yeah.
So I felt like a certain pressure to like bring a lot of energy to it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, I just got to play video game music for the
Yeah,
morning.
that's true.
So that was
One
nice.
time I played music that swore, and I will never forget, I don't even know what her name is because I didn't have her as a teacher, whoever led yearbook. She yelled at me for like hours.
Led yearbook. What year was that?
I was grade 10, so that would have been
I have no clue.
2011, 2012.
The only yearbook I got was the one that I influenced.
I thought you were going to say I was in. I was like, okay.
I was in most
You
of
were
them.
in like 5, yeah.
No, not 5 of them.
Yeah, you would have been in 5.
I thought no, I'd missed one, so at least.
Yeah, but your picture would have been in it.
No, the one where I missed school,
Oh, really? You didn't get a picture?
blank slate.
Oh, you were like a Facebook user profile.
Heck yeah, question mark and everything. I don't know if they did that or they just cut me out, but I don't have that yearbook, so I don't know.
Yeah, I never look at my yearbooks.
So you did radio in high school. Why do you feel drawn to being a personality?
Aw, that's a very good question.
Thank you.
I feel like I've just always been drawn to like being a host of things. Like every single job that I have includes some kind of hosting gig. Like at York University, I was the in-game host for varsity athletics. I started as a mascot, and then they gave me a chance to be on the mic, and then ever since that point, they were like, no, you have to be on the mic. You're fantastic. And that led me to like being on the mic for events that were like 20,000 people at one time. I was also like the brand ambassador at one time, so my voice was on their commercials, and I just feel like I've always been drawn to lending. I don't know what it is about hosting actually. Like, again, I don't get asked questions. This is very difficult for me to like sit here and answer. Now I understand like what everybody goes through when they come on the show, because I feel like I've just always had a knack for hosting. And I think that comes from my theater training. But then I also feel like I love community-driven products.
Products, yeah, 100%.
Community-driven projects. And I feel like hosting is always like a part of that. So like whether you're emceeing an event, whether you're hosting like a varsity athletics game, or whether you're hosting a TV show or a radio show or a podcast, it's like there's something about that excites me. And I can't quite like put my finger on why.
Dang, I feel that you are very like personal with people. I think that's
Yeah,
why
that's
you like
fair.
talking to people, learning
I
about them and
do,
stuff like
yeah.
that too. So that always
That's a good point.
leads into it too.
Yeah, I just think it's also just so much fun to like get a crowd hyped. I think that again that ties into theater, because I started doing theater when I was in grade 8. So I was 12 going on 13. And at that time, I got the swine flu, and I almost died.
Yeah.
So it was very strange going from my first ever musical audition, which was with Vampire Heart.
Dang.
And that was like my first ever play, being a part of it. Oh my God, I still like get those songs stuck in my head. The songs are pretty good. The play was interesting. I liked it though, I don't know. And then I went into my first acting camp that summer. And then I auditioned for my first play ever in grade 8. And that was through like the Theater Starting a Youth Group.
Cool.
And I got the lead somehow. I wanted the smallest role, but I got the lead. And so I was Puss in Boots. So I was Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
And it was like the Fable version, so it wasn't the Shrek version. So I didn't have to be like this Latino man. Like I didn't have to do that, but I had to be this like cocky cat.
Yeah.
And that was, if people like really know me in real life, like I'm actually very like timid, I find, until like I get comfortable with you. So for me, it's like I get very shy at first. So that was a very like big experience for me to just like go into it and just like throw myself into this new opportunity, I guess. But then I got the swine flu, and
Yeah.
I literally was on the brink of death. I almost had to be hospitalized. The doctor was like, if you didn't bring her in to the emerge when you did, she would have been dead by morning. Like, it was a really scary time period. I was out of school for almost like 3 months. It was 2 months, but then I had pneumonia after. So
Jeez.
it was like, I missed basically all the rehearsals for Puss in Boots, but they kept me as the lead. And so I came back, I think it was like December, and the play was in January, and I had to learn the whole play. I studied my lines while I was sick. That's honestly, I think, the reason why I got better. And at the same time, Vampire Heart was also happening. So I forced myself, I remember I was so sick, I forced myself to go to the dress rehearsal. But then there was this massive fight between the director and all the actors, and the producers, I think.
Theater trauma.
And yeah, theater's wild. And then they canceled Vampire Heart and moved it to Valentine's Day. So I was puking in the basement as they were all fighting. I will never forget. And I came up and I sat in the audience and I was like, I think I'm dying. And every single adult was just pissed. And I just couldn't understand it. And then it pushed me to be like, okay, I have to get better for February now, because now I have a play in January and February. And I think somewhere in that process of pulling myself out of like almost dying to like then going on stage, the more I talk about it, the weirder it gets. But like, I think in that process, I realized that it was something worth fighting for. And then ever since that moment of how I felt like the stage lights on me as that cat, as Puss in Boots, I don't know, something changed in me. And I felt like a missing piece came back. And I feel the same way when I host things. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's like the origin story of how this all started.
That's your origin story.
It's kind of my origin story.
Dang.
Almost dying from the swine flu.
Yep.
And then becoming Puss in Boots.
Typical.
And then a month later going on stage as a vampire child.
Yep.
And ever since then, it's just been like kismet, I guess.
Yeah.
And then that just like snowballed into so many other of my opportunities, because that's what I think grade 8 is like what set my path like forward, because then in high school I did so much theater. Like I was constantly in theater. I was a little bit of a theater snob. I was like pretty aggressive with a lot of opinions that I had. Again, I think I've been very vocal on this show about how like my younger self was just so like out there and just like so aggressive most of the time and just kind of obnoxious, which is fine.
You're pretty cool.
I guess we dated, so you know who I was back then. But I just feel like that grade 8 experience of like being launched into this weird like zone of, if I don't live, then I can't do this one thing, and that wasn't okay with me. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that just started me on this path that I'm still on today, which is crazy to think that 12-year-old me did that, but yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you don't take half steps, really.
Oh
You're kind of all the way in,
goodness.
all the time.
Yeah, I guess so. In it to win it.
Yeah, almost died. I got 2 plays up.
Bring it on.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you relate to Pauly D?
Oh, I relate to Pauly D like 10 out of 10. I feel like Pauly D and I don't know if we were like, you know, brother and sister back in the day or something, but like his energy and my energy is like the exact same.
Yeah.
The exact same.
I haven't seen you be in the crowd of 20,000 people, but I have seen you host other events, and
Yes.
you always get the energy changes when you get the mic on.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about like just hosting and seeing some people like really turn their attention to you, and then you're talking about a topic that you're passionate about, especially with like my rebound job. Like I just feel like when I get on a mic and I can talk about it, I feel so at peace. And I don't know if that's because I like attention. I wouldn't say I like attention. I don't think I like attention, honestly. Attention actually scares me, and I don't like it at all. And I think we've had many conversations about that. I know it comes across like I actually like attention, though. So I don't know.
It's just you have confidence, I think, where people would feel kind of withdrawn and going nervous. You go, I'm nervous, but I'm going to still.
Yeah, that's actually really fair. If I'm nervous, I just kind of use it to my advantage. Yeah, because I'm like, I think in the nervous energy, there's so much like vulnerability involved. And I think being an authentic human being, like being vulnerable is the greatest gift you can give. And so I think when I'm nervous, it's like, okay, this is part of the human experience. This is what I'm supposed to be feeling. This means that I care, but I'm not going to let it stop me. So how do I overcome it in this moment? And usually it just takes a second just to be like, done. Like I'm just going to breathe it out. I'm done. And I get on that stage and everything is done.
Tough cookie.
Yeah, I try to be. I don't know if I don't know. People think I'm really tough, but I'm also a very sensitive. I'm also a very sensitive person, and I think a lot of people don't get to see that side of me. So, yeah.
Do you find that you kind of having that host mentality helps you in other aspects of your life?
That's a really good question. Yeah. I'm impressed by your question
so far. I've been watching somebody that's really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of it in marketing really, really helps. I think in my friendships it really, really helps because I'm not the type of person that's going to have a small talk conversation with you. I don't like small talk usually, and that's what makes me upset sometimes when I'm like networking, because I just want to like get into deeper conversations. And I think because of that host mentality that I have through theater and through like different things, especially through like leadership opportunities I've had, I feel like, yeah, it helps me in pretty much every aspect of my life, but especially with my job because I'm marketing and like kind of selling people Rebound. And it's a pretty easy sell. Rebound's fantastic, but at the same time, like me being able to have those hosting skills and those communication skills and those speech skills, like that is a huge asset.
Is that something that you always feel that you're growing in, like getting those skills even better and better and better?
Absolutely. I think that, again, it started in grade 8, but then I feel like when I joined Project Kenya in grade 10 and then went to Kenya in grade 11 with like my PK people, I feel like the training that I got there was insane when I look back on it, because we were like literally given like so much like time to realize what communication means, how to give a speech properly, how to format a speech as well, and then also how to like send letters out to people to fundraise and how to go to meetings and fundraise. And that in itself was such like an incubator of knowledge that I don't think I took it for granted at all. I just think I had a very different experience in that program versus other people, that when I left it, I felt jaded. Not from the trip, but from like the actual leadership portion of it, like the training that we got. But at the same time, it was a pilot project, so like mistakes are gonna happen. And so that in itself was kind of a launch pad for me to understand that, oh, actually, I'm really good at speech giving. I'm really good at standing up in front of a crowd and getting people like energized. Like I remember after Kenya, I did this huge speech. I don't know if it was at the Sunbridge, like the Best Western that used to be there. And it was like a crowd of like at least like 400, 500 people. That's how it felt anyways. Maybe it's like more like 200, I'm not sure. But I got everybody like up and like cheering and all this stuff. And like, it was just like, oh my God, like I have a talent for this. And then I just brought that into university. And so I feel like I've just had a collection of experiences as a really young person that to develop these skills at like such a young age, that now I sit here and I'm like, people way older than me are asking me for advice. And that's very interesting because when I look back on it, it's just so weird to think that I was gifted all those things. Like I'm blessed. Like I feel very privileged, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing to be privileged.
No, that's super fair. And you use your skills for good, which is really nice.
I try to.
I've said before,
try
you are a
to.
superhero.
I don't know if I'm a superhero. I wouldn't describe myself as a superhero, but I think that's very sweet, so thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So with all your busyness, how
Yeah.
do you take care of yourself, like self-care?
It is very difficult for me to self-care. I find quality time is a big self-care thing for me. I feel like going out and just like living like I was 20 is also a big self-care for me. I don't think the things that other people find helpful for self-care help me, because I feel like I have so much energy in my body at all times that when I need that moment to self-care, it's almost like I need to expose of energy. Because I'm a very anxious person. I'm extremely anxious. The more time people spend with me, they realize how paranoid I am and how like just anxiety ridden my whole body is. So that by the time I get like alone time or time just to be by myself, I find that I want to go play a sport, or I want to go to like a bar with friends, or I want to like, you know, just kind of sing and do a workout and just like live my life that way. Movement is like really essential for me. And if I don't do my movement, and by movement I mean like working out or like doing theater or dancing or singing, like any kind of movement that gets me on my feet and like I feel connected to my body, that is so crucial for my success that I would say that is self-care. But I feel like I haven't been great at doing it lately.
Why do you feel that way? Like, do you feel like it's just been so busy that you just want to relax when you get that chance?
Yeah, I feel like there's a very big shift when you graduate from university and you go into the workforce. Like, it's just, I don't know how people do it. Like, I'm doing it, and I'm doing it, like, I guess well, but you work full time, and then you don't get paid for your commute either.
Right.
So you're really spending like 8 to 9 hours of your day at work, and then you get home and you have to do like chores and you have to do like things that just like make you a successful human being, like, you know, cleaning. And like I'm not very good at it, and like I feel like I get like behind on things a lot, because by the time I get home I'm just so exhausted, because I'm also an introvert, and a lot of my job and a lot of my hobbies and a lot of my passions involve me constantly putting myself out there and constantly interacting with people, which again I love. I never ever want to give it up, but I'm so exhausted by the end of my day. And then screen exhaustion is also a thing.
Yeah.
And then you get home and you just don't want to do anything. You just want to be able to melt into the couch and just watch a show or talk to your partner. Like, we just always go on tangents all night, and then suddenly the night's gone, and then I have to go to sleep and get back and do it all over again.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's not enough time in my week to like set aside for myself. But I also feel like that's an excuse. But when you're in that, like, I just entered the workforce, I've only been working like my dream job for the past 2 years. Not even 2 years yet.
Not yet, yeah.
And I already feel this like level of like, how do I balance everything? I think there was like a TikTok that like a lady or a girl my age like made about working a 9-to-5 job, and how she didn't realize like how exhausting, how hard, and like it's just not sustainable it is. Like she just like had a full meltdown, and a lot of like boomers and Gen X were like really getting on her, like being like, oh, like, you know, this is like the reality, like this girl's a sensitive, like, you know, girl. I'm trying to find a good word. I just don't like the words that they use. But it's true. It's a stark awakening when you transition from like childhood and youthhood and teenagehood into adulthood. And adulthood brings a lot of responsibility and a lot of things that like I didn't expect. And so now that I've been trying to balance it all out, and then with the economy crashing, and then genocides happening, and then like it's just, there's so much going on all at once that I just find it so difficult to self-care now. But I am trying to be better at it.
Well, and you're also doing other stuff besides work too, that you're
and that's something
volunteering your time with
I
too.
do to myself. Because I'm always like, I'm so busy, and I hate that whole like, I'm so busy like mentality, because I hate hustle culture. But then when you're somebody who grew up in a more poor environment, and you grew up in a single like parent household, and you were like helped being raised by your grandparents, and you just want a better life for you and your kids and the future generations, it's so difficult to not be a part of hustle culture.
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to make my life better, not only for myself, but for you as my partner, for my family, so they don't have to worry about me.
Yeah.
Because I'm the youngest, and that's been my whole life, is my family just worrying about me. And that's a really big thing that I need to heal from that I didn't really realize until this year. And so I just want to make my life better so that everybody is at ease and I can take care of others, and then my kids don't have to go through what I went through.
Right.
But that's hustle culture's pressure.
Yeah.
Is that whole mentality of making things better and keep going and keep going. And yeah, I'm definitely a part of that culture. And I hate to say that I'm part of that culture, but I am.
Well, it's like, I also came from a place where I lived with my grandparents as well. And I remember my parents hustling because they just wanted to like not have their parents worried about them, like they have their own place and stuff like that. And it is like a pressure because you want to make sure that as a kid, that's rough.
Yeah.
So now as an adult, you're probably going like, oh man, I can't, don't want to live that life at all.
Well, exactly. And then it's just like, I want a house. Like,
Yeah,
we're getting married next year.
Yeah.
I want kids. Kids are expensive. I have a cat that I love, and I wish I could buy him more cat trees. Like, there's so much that I want to do with my, and I love traveling. But I'm not in a place anymore where I can just max out my credit card and go to Mexico.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore. That's not responsible. It was fine when I was 21. It's not fine when I'm 27.
Damn
And that
responsibilities.
sucks. Yeah, that sucks. Like, it's almost like a grief process to transition, like I said, from like university into like full-blown adulthood where you're trying to be an independent person in this world. There's a grief over that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times Gen X and boomers, they were raised in a culture where you did not even acknowledge that. You went straight into marriage and baby making and household and all this stuff right from the get-go. Like 18 to 22, that's when you got married.
Yeah.
Now it's not like that. And so I think what we're experiencing in our generation, millennials and Gen Z, that are coming up, is that we are actually having time to grieve the life transitions and to grieve what it means to transition into a different way of living compared to what we are used to. And I think that's what I'm going through right now. And 27 is usually when Saturn's returns happens. And Saturn's return, I know a lot of people don't believe in astrology, and that's totally fine. I do. And I'm feeling it pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 27 is a huge shift. I thought 25 was a huge shift, but 27 is like, oh my God, everything I built is crumbling, which means I have to rebuild. But who am I? Who am I now? If everything crumbles, who am I?
Do you think that process is going to get easier as time goes on, or do you think even when you're 40, you're just going to be, I'm living by the seat of my pants here?
I hope I'm not living by the seat of my pants, but I also like that life.
There it is, yeah.
I like the spontaneity of it, but at the same time, I feel like every single piece of your life is a transition. I feel like you might be in one place for maybe 2 to 5 years, and then you transition again. And then it's just a constant change. And I think that's what's so beautiful about Gen Z and what they're experiencing, is that they're understanding there's a full spectrum of life, and that there is a full fluidity of who you are as a person and your identity. Whereas I find our generation and previous generations have been so cemented in what you're supposed to do, or supposed to be, or supposed to give, or supposed to do in this world. And it's bullshit. It really is, because who is placing those expectations on us? People who aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
People who are not in the workforce anymore. People who have been in government positions or who have been politicians for far too long and need to let young people start taking over and taking the reins.
Get them.
It's just how I feel.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I'm also the patriarchy also set that up. And it upsets me sometimes because a lot of people want to negate the patriarchy right now, because the left, I understand sometimes those TikToks can be annoying. I understand that. But right now we are experiencing a world that's not equal, and it is not beneficial for men. It's not beneficial for women. It's not beneficial for queer people. It's not beneficial for racialized folks. It's not beneficial for anyone. And that system to blame is from colonialization, and no one wants to actually point it out. And we all want to point fingers at each other and go on social media and create a divide. And we're all of one, and we're all one human. And that's how I see it. And so it's very difficult to be in this world knowing that and having that when previous generations just can't let go. And so I think that's also going into all of these things that I'm going through with like not being able to take care of myself, trying to like work up to the expectations that are placed on me every single day, when in reality, we're all just reinforcing this narrative and we're all just continuing the cycle for no reason.
Yeah.
For no reason.
The systems are set in place to kind of make
just
it
for
like
the
that.
economy, so that the top 1% can continue.
Capitalism.
That's what
baby.
it's capitalism. But I don't even think what we're experiencing right now is capitalism. I don't think so, because I don't think capitalism is oppressive in nature. If you read capitalism, it can be a great thing, but how our structures are in place, it is oppressive.
Right.
And so when you have capitalism and you have an oppressive government who wants to keep certain people down, who wants to keep the 1% where they are, then capitalism is your worst enemy because it can aid that. Mm-hmm. But I do agree with a lot of folks that like say that capitalism is not the enemy here. It's not the devil. It's not anything. Capitalism is actually great for economic growth, especially for a country. But when you pair that with systemic oppression and systems of power that want to keep a certain demographic higher up than others, then yes, it's problematic.
Yeah, the few people in power that control everything, make sure that they stay in power.
Yeah,
control
exactly.
Everything, for sure.
Exactly, and they make sure their families are. That's why generational wealth is probably the most, like, I don't know, the greatest privilege you can have.
Big time. Not
Yeah.
have to worry about that. That's,
Yeah.
as coming from like, my grandparents were immigrants.
Yeah.
And so they came in, had to build up from everything from the ground up. And I saw how that affected my parents in different ways.
Yeah.
And then coming now as me and my brother as well, we're stuck. It's
Yeah.
tough to break out of that like cocoon, I guess.
It really is, because my grandpa was an immigrant as well. And I feel like the world post-World War II, so like our grandparents experienced that, and then that led to our parents also experiencing that, which led to us also experiencing that. I think being in a post-World War II world has really shaped and shifted the mentality of like the immigrant American dream story. And I feel like we are living in the generation now where we are seeing the benefits of the seeds our grandparents planted. And it just sucks that we're also in a state where we can't even reap the benefits of it because the world is just not sustainable anymore.
Yeah.
And so it just sucks to know that my grandfather's like vision for his like grandkids and future great grandkids is like kind of being soiled right now because of the way that the world is structured and because of the way we're operating. Like, why are we so divided? It drives me nuts, and it makes me think that there's something bigger going on, and it's so much bigger than me that I just want to bow out, buy like a shack in the country, and just never participate in community or culture or society ever again, because it's, again, a constant, endless cycle. I think someone said today to me that it's that symbol of the snake eating its own tail.
Yep.
And it's just a constant, that's what I feel right now. I don't like to judge people based on anything. Like religion, no. Political beliefs, no. Like I am friends with conservatives, I'm friends with liberals, I'm friends with a lot of people. And for me, it's about the quality of the human life that I see before me. And are you a good person? Do you have good intentions? Are you in like standing in integrity with your values? Yes, then I can respect you. And I may not have to like you. I may not have to like understand why you believe certain things, like racist people. I have no idea why you're racist. I don't understand. Get out with that. But if you are like, you know, not like screaming on the side of the street like that Bible guy, then yeah. I'm fine with you. Like you can do what you want to do. I just don't have to interact with you. And you have to respect that about me, because I respect the quality of human life and I respect that everybody's on their own journey. And it's not my job to educate you. It's not my job to be in your world. And it's not my job to make you feel comfortable. It's your job to do that. And for me, I am the person that is going to bring joy no matter what, because that's what I'm here to do. And again, I'm not condoning racism.
No, I don't think
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm completely against that. But I think that a lot of people take it upon themselves that they need to educate and they need to formulate a certain lifestyle that shows performative allyship. I feel like allyship is also understanding what role you play in those systems. Like I know there's an ongoing genocide in Palestine right now, and it's awful, and it makes me so sad. And I try to stay updated. I try to donate as much as possible, but I don't post on my stories about it. But I have constant communication with other people. Like, we talk about it all the time, and I'm always updating you, and I'm always making sure I'm in the know. And I think that's what makes you a good person, is when in private, if your values and your morals are lining up with what you show in public, that's what defines a good person. But if you're hanging around people of color trying to like show face that you're so nice, but then in private saying your son or daughter couldn't date a person of color, then you're being contradictory.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest issue that I have with people right now, and that's what makes me want to go in a shack.
Let's get the compound. Let's get the compound.
But yeah, that's just how I feel.
Thank you so much for being on here and letting me interview you.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving us a little, oh my goodness, a view behind the curtain.
Thank you. I feel like I just went on a tangent. I feel like this is not like an interview that I've ever done before. So I appreciate the space to talk and to share my opinions, and yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay, if there was one thing that you could tell everybody on that side of the screen, what would you tell them?
Oh God. I don't know. There's so many things that I live by. And I think one of the greatest things that it's kind of been my guiding compass my whole life is that if I can look at my life today and I can analyze it in whatever way I want, and I can ask myself this one question, and that is, would my younger self be proud of me?
Thanks.
Would my younger self be proud of where I am today? And if I can say yes, then I'm happy and I'm content, and that's all I need, because I'm not here trying to prove anything to anyone. I'm not here to try to prove my worth. I'm not here to try to prove that I am worth love, and that's a big lesson I had to learn. But I'm here to make sure that my younger self is respected, and that my younger self is taken care of, and that my inner child is healing as I am healing, and that if she, my little Madison Fisher, can look up at me and say, you're doing a good job, and I'm proud of you, then that's one of the greatest accomplishments ever. And I think that's what I'm striving for, because I'm in no competition with anybody else. I'm in competition with myself, and I'm going to constantly raise the bar. And so if my younger self can see me raising that bar, even on the hardest frickin' days, like even today, I broke down crying about something. And you just have to make sure you keep moving, and you hold your child, like your inner child, with so much respect and love. I think that is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself.
Are you proud? Is little Maddie proud of older Maddie?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think she would be really, really proud of the work that I'm doing. I think she'd be really, really proud that I'm with you.
Aww.
Because I think my younger self knew that I made a mistake when I broke up with you in high school. And I think little kid Maddie, when she dreamed of her Prince Charming, I really think she envisioned you. I really do. And I think having a 3-legged kitty is also really cool. And I love orange cats because I grew up with orange cats. And like, there's so many beautiful things in my life that I think my younger me would be so proud. But I think she'd be like, bitch, why are you not famous yet? That's the only thing, because I know that bitch want to be famous. Mm-hmm. Sorry, younger me. But at the same time, I'm okay with not being famous.
Yeah. I'll tell you when we don't go somewhere out, and then someone goes like, hey, aren't you that person from the TV? Or... Yeah. I did. Mm-hmm. I have it happen a lot, but it's very sweet, and I feel very like humbled anytime that happens to me. Again, I like, even my younger self didn't want to be famous because of the attention. I wanted to be famous so that I could buy a house for my mom. That's why I want to be famous, and I think that's why a lot of us want that fame, is because there's an inner child wound inside that we couldn't take care of other people. But when we see celebrity culture, we see them having everything at their disposal, everything at their fingertips, being able to help people, being able to just do what they want to do. And I think younger people pick up on that, and I think that's why. And so I know that I can take care of myself, and that's what my younger self wanted. So yeah, I think she'd be very proud. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I've felt I've been talking to a Jedi this entire time. So thank you again.
Thank you.
I hope you have a good day.
Aw, I hope you have a good day.
And to you as well.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.